Hello, and welcome to today's episode of What's Your Ripple? A podcast capturing tales and stories of how ordinary people are making extraordinary ripples in people's lives, changing their lives forever. I'm JJ, your host, and I'm here to help individuals tell their story, helping them shine a light on that one person that made a life-changing ripple in their life and what they are doing with it today. And today I am so happy to welcome with me a special guest, Trinity Baker. She is a life coach. She was a nurse, but her ripple made her do what she is doing today as a life coach. Hello, Trinity, and welcome.
JJ, so nice to be here. It's such an honor to be at Ripple Retreat. You have made a significant ripple in my life, so I'm excited and honored that you would ask me to be here today.
Well, thank you. It's great to have you, and I'm looking forward to hearing your story. I know that you are making ripples in people's lives every day now, and your energy is beautiful, and I love what you are doing. How did you get where you're at today? Because I know when I pull up your website and I see pictures of you 2 years ago, you were not looking good.
No.
Not compared to what you're doing today.
No.
Please tell me.
I want you to picture, I think humans are similar to the caterpillar and the butterfly.
Okay.
But we are continuously doing that. And so if you compare today to 2 years ago, in my mind, I can compare 2 years ago to the 2 years prior to that.
Okay.
And I think that as humans, what we need to do is look at those time periods as caterpillars going into a cocoon, right? That's like our low.
Right.
The cocoon is where we're really focusing on that therapy or whatever it is that we're going through and harnessing the power of that challenge.
Yes.
And then we come out these big, beautiful butterflies.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're ready to make a ripple with it. Right?
Yes.
And so yeah.
Great analogy.
So 2 years ago, I was in this cocoon. And that cocoon was depression, anxiety, super unhealthy, using alcohol to numb all of that.
Right.
And today I'm here with the knowledge that I got from that hardship, from those challenges. And now I'm just teaching others how to get through those challenges themselves and come out that beautiful butterfly.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So what led to your depression?
Everything, really. I was a nurse working 14-hour shifts, working 2 other jobs, so working 3 jobs.
Uh-huh.
My son was 4. My husband was working out of town, just to make ends meet. He was miserable. We were miserable. Everything was just misery. It was survival mode. It was that typical survival mode that people are in, where we're trying to make ends meet. We're trying to be happy, whatever we think that is at that point.
Right.
And we are severely discouraged that life doesn't look the way that we pictured it, right? So I was a nurse working 3 jobs, trying to make ends meet. And I always wanted to make that ripple. I wanted to make that impact. At that point, I didn't know what it was called, right? But I wanted to make the impact, which is why I became a nurse.
Right.
And so here I am, 12 years into nursing, and saying, I am not making the impact that I want to make.
Right.
I'm working in a psychiatric hospital, just pouring the medication all over everyone, right? And that's what we think that help is in America, is medication, alcohol, drugs.
Right.
And so that was really that moment that I was like, I can't keep doing this. I am 20. At that point I was 28, 29 years old. And I have a whole life ahead of me.
Right.
And I've also seen how quickly life can change and how life is not guaranteed for us tomorrow.
No, it's not.
And so I threw my hands up, figuratively and physically, and said, there's got to be something. Right. Just give me something.
Yes.
And I think that was the huge shift. The huge shift was surrendering. Almost that surrender of saying, whatever it is, give it to me. I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever that change is. And that was change to entrepreneurship.
Nice.
Yeah.
And was there somebody that impacted that change that led to that?
I think it was. So, and that's sort of why I referenced to that caterpillar was 2 years ago. Me today and me 2 years ago was different. Me 2 years ago and the 2 years prior to that was different. I had lost my mom at 45 years old. And she was that person that when she walked into the room, she was just that sunshine, right? You felt her vibe, you felt her energy. And she was different than the previous generations. And so I saw her impact. And what I also saw was learning from her mistakes. At 45 years old, she passed away from alcoholism.
Oh, wow.
So when I was using alcohol to numb the
Right.
depression and anxiety,
Right.
that's really when it hit me. So she affected me not even being here,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And so we look back at like our most deep, darkest moments. That darkest moment taught me why I'm here today. Taught me how to persevere, how to like build that resilience, how to build the resilience, and then how to teach others how to do that too.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So that impact, be it a negative one that you were going through, led to a positive ripple in your life today.
Yeah, a positive ripple in my life, a positive ripple in my son's life, in my husband's life, in my friend's life, and every single person that the universe brings to me.
Beautiful.
Whether it be on social media, right? Someone sees my post. Whether it be a client that I work with.
Right.
Whether it be someone at one of my speeches. We have so many ripples. I mean, it literally is right down to the cashier that checks you out in the morning when you're getting your morning coffee. I mean, everything. We ripple everyone's life. And so seeing that and being aware of that makes you have so much more self-awareness.
Nice.
Yeah.
So being conscious of your actions.
Intentional.
Intentional,
right?
Indeed.
Because is it easier to be negative Nelly?
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. Yeah, it takes a lot of intention. But when you realize why, and you realize your purpose here on earth is that. Like, I truly believe our purpose is our impact.
Nice.
So if we don't have an impact, what's your purpose?
Right. Well, you can have an impact. I mean, it can be a
Positive
negative
impact, I should say.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you had said earlier today that in your low point that you consciously chose to change your life, and you reached out to a coach. Is that correct?
I did.
Please tell me more about that.
Yeah. That was a really significant moment in my life too. I didn't even know what coaching was. I thought we had to do this on our own.
Right.
I thought that when we were at our lowest point, we had drugs, we had alcohol, we had medication, or we could go sit somewhere and talk about it in a non-effective way, right?
Right.
That's sort of the options we have in the universe, in our current society, I should say. And so when I was introduced to a coach, I remember meeting with her and she said, you have everything that you need now to change. You have everything you need now to create that life that you want.
Well, you do.
And I didn't believe her.
Yeah.
And I said, that's very untrue. I don't think I said those nice words. And she said, no, I just want you to give me a chance. Just give me a chance to show you that you have within you everything that you need. And we're going to do it one step at a time with the support that you need in order to make it successful.
Nice.
So I was right, I will trust you. And I thank God every day that I trusted her because it's been an instrumental part of what she's done is provided me the reflection from an outside view on all the challenges that I did go through and everything I learned from them. A coach is almost like a dot connector of the dots that we can't see, right? When we don't have that level of self-awareness. Self-awareness comes from personal development. And so if you're just getting into the personal development world, you don't necessarily have that self-awareness to see the lessons in everything you go through.
Right.
So a coach helped me see that. And then as I progressed, she helped me see the next level.
Nice.
And that the challenges I was going through were ultimately my next level, right? Because there's lessons within those challenges.
Oh, of course.
And there's also lessons that I couldn't see in the challenges. And I think that's really what holds us back, is not seeing all of the lessons in the challenges. If we take the time to reflect on the challenge, whether that be a loss, a death, divorce, addiction, there's millions of lessons. And that's what makes you have your biggest impact in the world. It builds up your impact.
Nice.
You wouldn't be here today with the ripple that you provide, with all of those challenges you had gone through.
Oh, indeed. Indeed.
And so we have to go through them. It's just part of life. And so when you start to almost embrace challenges, because when I look at a challenge, this is how I look at challenges now, and this is hard. It takes intention, right?
Mm-hmm.
I look at challenges as this. Man, I can't wait for this next level of growth. Right?
Right.
Sometimes it's hard, not perfect. I might take a couple days to be really not happy about the challenge. But after that self-awareness of saying, all right, this really is here to serve me. And I think that's it's belief. It's belief that there's a higher power that's putting these things into your life. I didn't even believe in that 4 years ago.
No.
There was no higher power to me.
Really?
There was no spiritual connection. There was nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that it's that deep dark place that you have to go to learn those things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And to develop, somebody can tell you what to do. A coach can tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But until you make that decision yourself to change and get your mind set in a different way, it won't work.
Nope.
And it's about mindset
It's all about mindset.
and what you focus on.
Yeah.
Because if you focus on that tragedy as being negative, it will be negative for the rest of your life.
Entire life.
But if you can look at that significant life-changing event as a positive, something to grow from, and focus on making your life better because of that,
Exactly. Yeah.
you change your mindset.
Yeah.
And you grow.
Yeah. That's exactly what I did with the loss of my mom. And so I took a year to be in that deep depression.
Right.
I took a year to then grieve with the support of a mental health professional. I then went back into depression with my life choices, right? Because I wasn't taught the mindset. I went through grief. That's what I was taught. And so I never went into personal development. So I was still in that low place.
Right.
And then something clicked that I was sitting here wasting life, that it was so precious.
Mm-hmm.
And that my mom at 45, it was taken from her. And how she must be looking down like, man, you are just wasting it.
Right.
And so when that clicked, I said, all right, I'm made for more. Look, student loan and debt, I don't care. If this is not where I'm meant to be, it's not where I'm meant to be. And it's surrendering to, there might be a possibility that this is not where I'm meant to be. But I think that the universe always finds a way to serve you one way or another, give you what you need. And so I go at every day with the mindset of making my day its fullest for those that we've lost. It's almost living their legacy on, right? And so what I teach a lot of my clients is that when we experience loss, our only responsibility is to live their legacy on. And so if I look at my mom, you look at someone you've lost, and I encourage your listeners to think about this question for a second and sit on it, is think about someone you've lost. How can you live their legacy on? Pick 3 things that you loved about them. It's almost impossible to be sad.
Yeah.
And so when that mindset shift happens, you are so motivated to go and do. Just go get out and do.
Right.
Whatever that is, right? Because everyone's different.
Oh, yeah.
My mom's legacy would be different than someone else's mother's legacy. And so, but that's what we're supposed to do with loss. You know, if you think about all of the things that they say in any type of funeral, that's really what it's all about. all of the things that they say, all the scripture they read, and whatever it is, right? I just went to a funeral this past weekend, and so this is in my mind, is like, regardless of the spiritual, whatever religion it is, or no religion, the things that are said is all about the legacy of the person.
Right.
And so the people that have the ripple in your life can be present or past. You can get a ripple from someone you've never met, as far as like a relative that you've never met, right? Live through their stories. I have a great grandfather I've never met, but I live through his stories.
Right.
I live his legacy on through his story. So I think that's the most important, is not forgetting about those people in the grief, going through the grief in order to live their legacy on.
That's beautiful. Indeed. And to be grateful for having that legacy to carry on. The lessons you learn from that individual and that ripple that they played in your life is in having the gratitude for that. Because when you have the gratitude, that changes your vibration.
Oh, it's a total vibe changer. It's like a switch goes off in you.
Indeed.
Yeah. I mean, literally journaling. And when I say journaling, take a piece of blank paper. 10 things you're grateful for. Total game changer.
Oh, it does.
You cannot be in a negative place after listing 10 things you're grateful for.
Right.
Even if those 10 things are, I woke up this morning, I was able to have a hot cup of coffee.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have so many things to be grateful for.
Oh, indeed. Indeed.
One thing, my son is 9, and the things that we do at night is when we're laying in bed and cuddling, we do 3 things that we're grateful for every single night. And so oftentimes he'll look at me and say, "Man, it's so hard to pick just 3." And I'm like, "I know, isn't it?" And so he does the 3, and then he has 17 everyday things that he says after his 3.
Really?
17
Wow.
every single night that he says, like that.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to think about it. He just runs right through them. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So it's the power of gratitude. I mean, and we can teach it. You can teach it to anyone.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
I think that's a ripple right there. If you're sitting here thinking, what could be my ripple? Start practicing gratitude and then just spread that message.
Indeed.
And anyone can do it.
Trinity, you touched my life. I've known you for a couple of years now. And last year you had said something to me that really resonated with me.
Mm.
And that's gratitude, grace, celebration. Or was it grace,
gratitude, celebration.
Grace, gratitude, celebration. Yep. You have to give yourself grace to stop beating yourself up.
Yeah.
Have gratitude for where you're at and for the lessons that you have gotten. And celebrate being alive and the positives in your life. That was a game changer for me last year in many, many incidences. And I thank you for that.
I love that. Grace, gratitude, celebration was formed while I was in the midst of a depression.
Nice.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
I think it's cool now. I didn't think it was cool then. But and I think that this is my message, is because I do want to be that real person, right? We talked about this earlier when we were on a beautiful hike at Ripple. If you have not been to Ripple, you need to come to Ripple. Is that there are things that come from those deepest, darkest moments. And so when you have that self-awareness, look at those. Beautiful things like grace, gratitude, celebration come from it. And also, when you're real and vulnerable and honest about those things, like, just because I'm a mindset coach doesn't mean my mindset is 100%.
Right.
It just means that I have tools and resources and experience that I can make an impact with. Right?
Yes.
And so I always want to be very real and honest. And so a year ago, right before I started my business as a mindset coach, I had learned all of this, and I went into a depression. And I was sitting on my porch in beautiful Rangeley, Maine, like dream location, beautiful family. We are healthy. We are like, everything is good. And I was beating myself up.
Yeah.
Why am I not happy?
Wow.
Why am I not happy? And it was a constant beat myself up every day. And I remember sitting on my porch, and my husband was sitting there, and it was the first time I heard and felt a message that said, "You know exactly how to get yourself out of this. Do it and teach others."
Nice.
30 days later, after creating Grace, Gratitude, Celebration that day,
yes.
30 days later, I was depression and anxiety free.
Oh, beautiful.
Using Grace, Gratitude, Celebration. It's the most simplest, easiest mindset hack that will bring you out of a negative feeling, whether that be depression or anxiety, resentment, anger, all of those things that we live with on a day-to-day basis.
Indeed, indeed. So to the listeners out there, if you are currently in a situation, it's really simple. Grace, gratitude, celebration. Just repeat that and think. Give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up. Love yourself. Have gratitude for what you have. I mean, stop, pause, and think about what it is in your life today, right now in this moment, that if you lost, it would just crush you.
Mm-hmm.
Be grateful for having that. Yeah. And then celebrate.
Yeah.
Celebrate being alive and that great feeling you get when you actually resonate that gratitude.
Yeah. Grace gratitude celebration is easy and simple. It's grace for yourself. When I was in depression, it was grace for myself.
Right.
It was grace for myself all of the time.
Nice.
Now that I am out of that dark era, grace is for other people. It's grace to someone who I'm thinking about. You know, those people that come into your mind where you're just like, it's grace for them.
Right.
It's gratitude for everything. I mean, I could sit here all day long, right? You could too. But like,
yes, indeed.
I look at gratitude now as what can I currently be grateful for? Right now in this moment. If I practice it right now, it would be the opportunity to be here. Doing this, the ability to have my car to drive here.
Right.
That I was safe driving here for an hour and a half, right? That it's beautiful out and it's not raining. You know, there's so many things. And then celebration, I love doing celebration, and I think that this is the most important thing, is celebrating the self-awareness and the intention that it took to do that. And I think what that does is celebration releases those natural chemicals that we get from things like drugs and alcohol, right?
Yes.
And so we have that all within us. We can release all of those things that we get with those substances right within us. And again, I'm not perfect, right? But I think that when we recognize that celebration releases those chemicals, when we celebrate our intention, it's just going to motivate us to do it again.
Oh, indeed.
Right? It builds that intention setting, and it builds that self-awareness every single time. And that's why it literally only took me 30 days. There's been no medication that has proven that effective. Like, medication takes weeks to even get into your system if it's going to work, right? So if we start to use, is there a place for medication? Absolutely. But if we start to use the tools we already have right within us, life-changing, society-changing, world-changing tools that we all have within us.
Yes. And it all resonates with mindset, because your mind is so powerful. It can cure you or it can kill you.
Mic drop. Literally going to be saying that for the rest of my life. You said that today while we're sitting on this beautiful peak of this mountain, and it is so true. It has the ability to kill you or to heal you. You choose. Which mindset will you choose? And it comes down to a choice. And it's small habit shifts. It's small intentions. It's nothing big.
No.
It's nothing big. And that's what I love about mindset, is that it is nothing big, because I'm not a 0 to 100 type of person. Like, I've had this health journey of losing 75 pounds over 2.5 years. I did not go 0 to 100. No. And I think that our bodies are meant to do that. Like, we're not meant to quit something in the snap of the finger. We're habits. Like, we are made up of habits, and that makes our identity. So if you want to start being someone who moves their body every day, start with a 5-minute walk. Right. It goes to 10 minutes. And all of a sudden you're like, ooh, what's hiking? I'm going to try that, right? Yep. And so then your identity shifts with it. When we go from 0 to 100 shifts, not using the power of our mindset, right? That's where we get imposter syndrome. That's why our identities don't change with that.
Exactly. And you rebound.
You rebound, right?
And you hit it harder because, when you rebound, you go back to what was normal, what felt normal, even if it's depression.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been
It's comfortable.
It's comfortable. Oh, I used to get great comfort in the darkness.
Yeah.
Because it was mine, and it felt familiar.
Yeah.
Well, you can break out of that.
You have to, your why has to be big enough. And I think that goes back down to your ripple. My why a lot is my mom. My why a lot is changing that generation. So, like, who in your life has been that ripple where, and I think that I love your first episode because you talk about that person that was your ripple, right? And I think that we have so many, just like gratitude. Can I pick one person that rippled my life? Absolutely not. I mean, my husband, for example, like, when I first started dating him when I was 15, okay? I was in a bad place. Dark place. 15 years old. Yeah. Hard to know. Drugs, alcohol. Like, hard drugs. I would not be in this life. That was a huge ripple, right?
Indeed.
He almost saved me, and he probably has no idea, right? So there have been so many people in our lives that have been ripples. But my mom is really that ripple that made me who I am today. And the reason I spread my message so far and wide, because there was a study done in 2020 that showed that 86% of Americans are unhappy. And that's just the people who are willing to admit it.
Right.
I think that number is significantly higher based on the way that
It's
our world is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have the ability to change that within us.
Yes, we do.
And so my message, I'm so passionate about that message because of that. It is life and world changing.
Indeed.
Even if it's 1%, even if I reach 1% of people in the world by the time, my lifetime here, 1%, it's generation changing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So your ripple today is being a mindset coach.
It is. Super blessed by that. God-given. People ask me how I became this and how I got here. It's all God. It's all the universe.
Nice.
When you surrender to what you're being led to, it all just works out, right? It's trusting. It really is building that trust that what you are being led to, as long as it makes a positive impact, right? It doesn't hurt other people. Where you're being led to is where you're meant to go. And so mindset coaching is that. But when I was learning about mindset, I never intended to be a coach.
Really?
I never intended to share it with anyone other than the people I was currently working with.
Right.
I was a business coach and self-care coach.
Okay.
And so I was in the coaching realm, in a way. It was my first entrepreneurial experience. And so what I was figuring out as a self-care coach was that a lot of people commit to self-care and then they go back on it. They tell themselves they're not worth it. They're not worth the time. They're not worth the money. They're not worth the intention. And then people coming into business, they want it. They want their own business. They want that time flexibility. They want that money freedom, financial freedom. But they tell themselves they're imposters. They're not supposed to be here. They're supposed to be whatever they're currently in, right?
Right.
And so when I learned about mindset, it was to help those people overcome that. I never knew it would lead to this. I never knew that. I think my depression is what showed me that it was going to lead to this.
Yeah.
Because literally 2 months after I came out of depression, I had a motivational speaking opportunity across the country come and fall into my lap.
Right.
Right? And so I never intended that, but that was the catapult to my business. And so Grace Gratitude Celebration was the foundation to my business. I knew I wanted to offer something for free all of the time to everyone to show them the power of their mindset.
Nice.
That's what I offer. I will always have a Grace Gratitude Celebration training for free available. The easiest way too. People just have to text it to get it. That's it. They text the number and they get it. I want it to be for anyone in any way, however I can spread that message. Because I think everyone, if you can experience the mindset transformation and see how powerful it is,
yes,
you're hooked.
Oh yeah.
You're hooked.
Indeed.
Hooked.
Absolutely.
Do you stick to it? We all go through rough patches. We all go through up and down. But it's always a resource that's there. So when you come back out of that dark period, or maybe you use it to get out of that dark period, it's always there. Yeah. It's free. It's all mindset.
If you can do it once, you can do it twice.
Yeah.
And if you can do it twice, you can do it 7, 8, 9 times and make it habitual. That mindset, you have the power to make it an everyday habit, which will change your life.
Recovery is no different.
Absolutely.
It's all a choice.
Yes.
It's one choice at a time. Now, is it one choice every second? Absolutely. It takes intention every second at that beginning, right? When the demons are deep, when they are loud and you cannot overpower them. But it's all a choice. And it's all mindset.
It is. And
it all leads down.
5 years sober. Raging functional alcoholic. Yeah, I know those demons are always present.
Always.
Every second.
Yeah.
But it's a mindset.
Yeah.
And it's, yes.
Yeah.
Trinity, I have enjoyed this discussion with you. Absolutely. I love that you are a mindset coach and you are making ripples in other people's lives because of what has happened to you in your past.
Yeah.
Now, how do people find you?
Good question. I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible. So I am the Trinity Baker on everything. So my website is thetrinitybaker.com and you can find my free training there. I have tons of educational resources there. You can sign up for my free training. You can book a discovery call with me. So if you're like, hey, what is mindset? let's jump on a call. I'd love to explain it to you.
Nice.
Social media, same thing though. And I use social media in a way to empower people. So I think that there is such a huge possibility of a positive ripple with social media that unfortunately our society uses for opposite ripples.
Right.
And so I am very passionate about using social media only for positive ripples. Motivational videos, tips and tricks on mindset, motivation, quotes. Like I am just full on social media of trying to empower people. So just follow me on your favorite social media platform.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, you heard it right here. TheTrinityBaker.com.
That's it.
She can help pick you up, make positive ripples in your life.
Yeah.
With grace, gratitude, and celebration.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trinity.
Thank
It's
you,
been
Jeff.
an absolute pleasure.
Ditto.
And that wraps our episode up today of What's Your Ripple? I got to learn what Trinity's ripple is. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
And my message to everyone out there is to please pause, love yourself, and be aware of your ripple. With love and gratitude, JJ.